And this is coming from the publisher Ludus Magnus Studio, and the reason I'm pointing that out is because this is actually designed to be a sort of re-implementation or simplified version of another one of their games, and that game is known as Black Rose Wars. And this one's going to be more accessible, have a simpler rule set, and be less epic overall. And I think that's a good thing because we don't need every game to be hugely sprawling and epic with a ton of content and rules overhead. But the theme of this one is quite a bit different. In this one, players are hackers in a cyberspace, and your objective is to spread your viruses inside the database and gather as much information as possible as you're going up against a firewall that's getting stronger and stronger with each round, till eventually players can no longer go up against that firewall and the game ends, and then the player who's collected the most data is going to win the game. Each player is going to have an individual player board, and the interesting thing about these boards is that there's 3 slots for your main abilities. There's going to be a movement, attack, and evasion abilities that players will be able to upgrade their boards with. But then there's also some other actions players can do, like upgrading, configuring, or disconnecting from the cyber world. And there's also going to be some location-specific actions depending on where you are on the main board. The neat thing about the way the actions work in this game is that you're going to have action cubes to perform your various actions, but in order to perform that action, you need to have an action cube in that space on your board, but then each space is connected by an arrow, and some of them have multiple arrows in different directions, and when you perform the action you have to move the cube along one of those arrows into a new space, which is going to prevent players from repeating the same actions over and over, and you're going to have to decide which actions you think you're going to be performing next, because the availability of those actions is going to be dependent on where you move those cubes. And the game continues like this for a series of rounds of players performing and optimizing their action choices in order to gain the most data, and the player with the most points at the end of the game wins the game.